Because in other news, a damning report has found Greater Manchester police officers abused their power and carried out unnecessary strip searches on women and girls taken into custody. The independent inquiry found that officers sometimes treated victims as perpetrators, traumatising those who've suffered sexual abuse or domestic violence. Well, the inquiry was launched following a Sky News investigation revealing the stories of a number of women who reported being inappropriately strip searched. The Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, credited Sky News for bringing the story to his attention.
The safety of women and girls in Greater Manchester is a high personal priority for me. Likewise, I want people here to have confidence in their police force, and I take my public duty to hold it to account extremely seriously. This explains why, when a Sky News broadcast in July 2023 featured disturbing accounts and distressing images of 3 women in police custody, I immediately invited the former Victims Commissioner for England and Wales to carry out an independent review. We will be accepting all of Dame Vera's recommendations and asking the Chief Constable to consider implementing significant changes with relation to arrest and use of custody. As she makes clear, the level of harm caused by these experiences is huge, and the individuals concerned deserve an apology for what happened.
Well, Greater Manchester Police Chief Constable Stephen Watson acknowledged that officers had shown a lack of humility and apologised to victims.
The majority of the cases highlighted in this report do speak to a period when GMP were in special measures. Our custody system was clearly under pressure and struggling to perform to anything approaching an acceptable standard. It evidences poor systems, structures, and processes, compounded by a lack of routine leadership scrutiny, with clear individual examples of incivility, insensitivity, and being quite uncaring in the face of vulnerability to those given voice by this inquiry and who have not received the care and the consideration to which they are entitled. I am sorry.
Our Home Editor Jason Farrell, whose journalism led to this report, has been speaking to some of those affected.
Unlawful arrests, demeaning strip searches, exercising powers they don't have. This inquiry, triggered by a Sky News investigation into Greater Manchester Police, calls for urgent change.
Right, Danica, the time's 10:42. You're under arrest on suspicion of blackmail.
This arrest of Danica Stewart was unlawful, says the Baird inquiry, describing it as a pantomime, and that she was later subjected to a degrading, unnecessary strip search. Danica believes she was being punished for making a formal complaint against the police about the way they investigated an alleged sexual offence against another person that she had reported.
That's how they get you to shut up, because it's scary. It's absolutely terrifying knowing that whole organisation is trying to take you down.
The alleged sex offender had apparently accused Danica of blackmail. But Dame Vera Baird found that she'd turned from victim to suspect based on almost nothing, and her strip search was neither explained, justified, nor recorded on police records.
The truth is, once you're through those doors, it is police and police and police and no one but police. And so they can do what they want. I have seen all the body-worn video, all the custody video, all the statements, and it is a rare mind that is not a police mind that looks at these and sees, my goodness, you're not treating the public well.
Dame Vera forced the police to release footage of Danica's interview.
You called him a disgusting tramp. Do you recall sending that message?
And her review criticised the line of questioning which leads Danica to leaving the room in distress.
I'm not doing it, I'm not talking about it! I'm not you are not tormenting me.
And that the interview continues while she's crying with her head covered.
Do you find some of it hard to watch?
Yeah.
This inquiry looks at 15 cases, mostly women, some previously reported by Sky News, where it finds police overreach their powers, humiliating people in custody, even traumatising rape or domestic abuse victims by stripping them. In this dawn raid on Mark Dove, who we featured previously, Dame Vera finds they traumatise his family in what she calls an unlawful arrest. The report says, if these officers are examples of the culture in GMP, it seems to be one of exercising power they don't have, as and when they wish, without expecting to be held to account for it. Without this inquiry, none of these issues would have been held up to the light of public scrutiny. That is a worrying possibility. It adds, the strategic priority to increase arrests may be driving unwise and unlawful arrests.
I told the sergeant I'm not going to be able to get home.
Dame Vera examined the case raised by Sky News of a domestic violence victim we called Maria, who'd gone to the police station to recover money from her detained partner, but was arrested herself after she expressed frustration with officers because no one would help her. Despite knowing she was also a sexual abuse victim, police strip-searched her to look for a concealed vape.
It sends you back to that point in time where you've been abused and hurt. I did feel like I was being used as a piece of meat, and that men wouldn't be used in that don't get strip searched in that way. And it's a lot different for women. It's less dignified, especially if they're asking you to open up your legs, because it's so intimate.
Dame Vera found the arrest and strip search unlawful, adding it also highlights how police readily criminalise traumatised women who express frustration with the police response. We can reveal that despite all of these findings, Maria is still due to appear in court over the police allegations. In July last year, Sky News examined in detail custody logs and the CCTV footage of Zaina Iman, who was strip-searched by GMP officers and, she claimed, raped in custody. 2 hours of footage was missing from her time in detention. Our report led to protests in Manchester and outside the Home Office in London and triggered the Baird inquiry. But Zaina didn't support it.
It always results in lessons will be learned. I don't want lessons will be learned. I want my footage and I want officers held to account.
So you didn't really want that review? That wasn't really suitable. What you wanted?
It wasn't suitable for my case. I'm alleged sexual assault.
The missing footage has never been recovered. The case is still being investigated by the police watchdog. But participants say this inquiry has helped them.
To have someone like Vera Baird stand up there and say, you were right, they were wrong, how does that feel?
It feels very overwhelming. For her to actually stand there and be the person that she is and be in the position that she's in and say, you're right, they shouldn't have done what they've done to you, and I've done everything to prove that, is something that I'll never forget.
Your hands are here. Right, you fool. Right, stop being a
Dame Vera makes numerous recommendations to urgently end unwarranted strip searching and unlawful arrests, which she warns may be endemic in Greater Manchester Police. Jason Farrell, Sky News.
Well, in response to Jason's report, a Greater Manchester Police spokesperson said, "We apologise and accept the recommendations of the inquiry. We have already made some improvements, but acknowledge that there is more to do." In respect of Zaina Iman's allegations, they say, "We understand the concerns raised, which is why we referred this case to the IOPC last year for an independent and rigorous review. We continue to fully cooperate with their ongoing investigation and await their findings before further comment."